Outer Orange.
Woo-wee, do we have a lot to cover today, and I have Banya here with me. Probably temporarily, she'll probably jump off the chair at some given point, right, little Banya? Yeah. She just burned. We got some amazing results. Go ahead and get started. All right, fam. As I mentioned, we got quite a bit to discuss, and even Fuzzy mentioned that there's quite a bit to talk about. We had the Singapore 2024 season top 8 breakdown set 5. So we have the Berry kind of taking 11 Berry kind of doing some strength. Java, which is a big discussion about that fact that it's topping, so maybe there's some goodies in there. Varga, Night Rose, Raziel, Love Address, and Shiranui. Shiranui still performing through the end, even with so many bans. This deck is still somehow managing to be a not like still a top 8. It's still a top 8. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so here we have the results. This is basically first place was the love deck, second place was Java, third place was the new Varga, which is the 5 Varga, and fourth place we had the Night Rose with actually 984 Smurf. Interesting, I haven't seen his name in a while. So this is basically what we're looking at for this. So really good stuff here. The Java is probably very surprising to most people, the one you won't expect to top, but it has been getting cards, so maybe there's something new with those cards. You never know. We got a lot more to talk about. We'll go back if we see anything cool. We also have the Malaysia top 16 breakdown. So Love Address taking a good bit of the chart here. We have a Varga after that. Raziel, Ava, surprisingly enough, Luard, Love, Alcalibra, Odium, and Yatsubaz. You know, funny enough, we didn't see any Odium in the last one. And Odium is a very popular, kind of a very popular pick nowadays, at least in set 5. So this is what top 8 breakdown looked like. Basically, Odium got cut out of this one, and now it's Love Address, Luard, Love, Alcalibra, Varga, and Raziel. And then going into winners, so we have Luard winning it all. We have Love Address in second, Love Address in third, and Love in fourth. Now, something I want to bring up is I think people are really sleeping on Luard. I truly do. I actually think the deck's can perform very, very well. It's just a very good chunk of cards in the deck, and it seems so like just minimal, but it does do a lot. It does have like numbers, it draws a lot, it recycles board, recycles triggers, it just keeps recycling over and over again. It just kind of sits there. It's very, very good at playing the long game. Probably one of the best decks that can play the long game, aside from maybe Love Address. It can deck out decks, which by the way, Love Address is very deck outable, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Peru, this is standard top 8 breakdowns. They got quite a bit of Ichi over there. Shodoji, Varga, Youthberg, Almajester. Almajester is very, very interesting to see. But Valstra, another one that's a little bit more unusual, and Prism, which is also kind of a little bit more on the unusual side. Prism winning it all, by the way. In second place, we had Michu. Third place, we have Varga. At fourth place, we had Ranzo. I am curious to see what this Prison deck list is looking like. We'll probably check it out here. It is a deck to fear. It kind of does the same thing over and over again, and it doesn't really care about opponent's board removal or any of that kind of stuff. Like, it just does its own thing. So here's Prism. They are running the original ride line here, keeping it pretty standard. I'm seeing the Welsh bonds, I'm seeing the energy cyclers, seeing the top Siphon checker. We got the Prism cards, we got the Ura just to grab ladder and a couple other orders, and Sync obviously because Sync is really good. Overall, it seems pretty standard. They're running fronts over draws, actually very heavy amount of fronts, and I can understand that the deck has a lot of pressure. You want the numbers to get as big as possible. I will say I prefer draws, but you deck out faster with draws, so maybe fronts are the go. Just as long as you don't with your engine. Now, I will say nowadays, since you have the energy cyclers and the Welsh bond, it's actually really hard to like super brick. So maybe there's some reason to just go over to fronts. Maybe fronts is the way. Running the blue tea. Blue tea is pretty nice since Vanguard has a critical trigger, and I personally prefer red just because of the aggro, but blue also makes perfect sense. Also gets you a card back to hand, which means you're surviving longer. Ladder just really helps just to soul, like it's mainly the soul actually, and then the plus 5k is very good because it makes the Vanguard it's just a really annoying magic number. So overall really good stuff. Still winning the grade 1 here. It also helps with like making columns bigger, and then it helps you have the chance to lower on these, so it's also really good. So overall pretty standard list from what I'm seeing there. And then we can take a look at the Youthberg list. I'm kind of wondering if Youthberg has changed at all or if it's exactly the same. I am a little curious here. I'm trying to be fast, that we have a lot to go through, so I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time here. Let's see what Youthberg is up to. Looks pretty standard except this guy. I see this guy a bit. This is the guard restrict dude, so it's just to annoy your opponent a little bit more. So we have this guy here is the discard cards. Okay, so I guess we're running one of the discard cards to kind of help with that. We have the Sequana. But yeah, it's really weird to see Youthberg again, because I feel like it has been slowly dying down a little bit. Youthberg just isn't as popular, but it seems to be a good list over there. So here's Duluth. This is my regional I just went to. I clearly suck at the game because I didn't make it through. I actually took Leonore for this event, and I got just destroyed because I kept drawing perfect guards into decks that you don't want to PG early into because they're aggroing you down. I was almost like, man, maybe I shouldn't have just ran. I should have just ran 0 perfect guards. Like I just saw them every game, so I got a little bit shut down. First, I played V Premium. I bubbled in V. I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I got the vlog. I had a lot of fun. Anyway, Shodoji took a big chunk of the chart here, taking 7 spots, and we had Leonore after that. There's a lot of Leonore players from what I saw around me. There's a lot of Leonore, a lot of Varga, a lot of Razleo from what I saw around me, but this is kind of breakdown space. So Blackmire got Varga, Colonel Jet, Lisa Fell. Lisa Fell was strangely a pretty popular pick. Quite a few people I saw on Lisa Fell. I almost took her myself. She's really good. And then we got 2 Michu, 2 Shenru, 1 Fennel, and we'll talk about Fennel here in a sec. We got Herminia, Velstra, Alden, Alpadillo, and Leticia. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think Leonore Shodoji was like the go-to picks, and after that was Blackmire, which is exactly kind of what we saw. I think Varga was also a really good choice because it's perfect for an event like this. It's easy to just not make mistakes. There's quite a bit of Jet players, surprisingly enough, like more than you would expect, and as you can see, the results are showing. And there was quite a few cat decks as well, which is a little surprising. Over top 16, Leonore actually started kind of taking out the chunk of the chart after that. I think Leonore is insanely strong this set. I really underestimated this deck, and I started testing it more, and I was like, man, this deck's actually a really good pick. It actually just really it's just a good pick. It also beats Doji as long as you go first. If you go first, it's a relatively in your favor matchup. The Doji can rush you back, and if you don't open triggers like I did and open all your PGs, it really sucks. But otherwise, it's a pretty favorable match, and you can risk going second and be fine. The Leonore has a really good aggro, a really good rush down that you can do, and it's just very impactful. Also, mid to late game, she stabilizes so well that the deck just gets really good. After that, we had Doji, Blackmire, 1 Flat, one Varka, 1 Fennel, 1 Colonel Jet, 1 Lisa Fell, and then top 8 looked like this. Again, Leonore and Doji basically take up the majority of the chart, leaving Varga and Fennel, and then this is basically the results. This is first, we have Varga taking it all, second is Leonore, third place is Fennel, and fourth place is Shodoji. Now, some people were like, oh my god, Fennel. Fennel's really good. I took Fennel to Springfest, and I've talked about multiple times that the deck's really, really good. It's a very, very aggressive deck. If you take first, you just kind of sometimes auto win on the spot, and also it's an insanely fast deck sometimes. You'll just win, and your opponent didn't even see their grade 3 yet. This will happen a lot with this deck, and especially since some decks are kind of fragile a little bit to like early aggro, this deck is like the king of like early aggression, surprisingly enough. It has faster and better columns than Doji does. I know that's hard to believe, but it actually does. They have grade 1s that become 30k beaters on turn 2. You have Stegra, which gets you everything. You have orders that draw half of your deck. You will randomly see a board that's everything swing for 23. It all hits over defenses. It's very aggressive. I think the only thing that could maybe hit over the numbers is Leonore, actually, funnily enough. So Leonore is the only other deck that actually can hit over like very specific numbers on like turn 2, or decks like Claudine where they just aggro you down with like grade 0s. Fennel is just a really good stable deck, so I definitely support this. And I will say the only thing I've seen that kind of screws Fennel over is damaging your over trigger, specifically on the damage that you need the counterblast on. Happened to me once. I lost the game over it, and I was very sad. And I really like the list that Beatrice brought. We actually talked quite a bit about Fennel, since I'm a big Fennel fan, so it's nice to see someone else be as much of a Fennel fan as me. I just really like Halloween, and it's just such a cute deck, and it's so aggressive. So nice to see there. But of course, Varga did take it all, though. And Varga is, like I mentioned earlier, is a very, very, I think it's a good deck. It's a little bit more, like, I'm not trying to be mean about it. It is a little bit more on the brain dead side, but I mean it in the nicest way possible. You, of course, still have to play correctly, but I think out of all of the decks in the pool, it's one of the easier ones to just pick up and go. Leonore also falls into that category, so it's another one that's easy to pick up and go. You don't need to, like, super think. You need to think still, but you can think a little less and be fine under the clock. And I think that clock is very impactful. So you know, when you're under a clock, you want to make sure you're playing optimally. Doji's a lot harder to play. Obviously, you can make mistakes for it. It's easy to mess up. So I think these two decks are just a little bit easier to take. Fennel can kind of fall into that. I will say Fennel has some thinking involved, but once you have like the loop going, you kind of do the same thing over and over again. And then we have Doji. Doji, obviously still a good deck, but it kind of fell off a little bit. I will say, I personally think, and I've thought this for a while, I think Doji really loses to burst decks, and Leonore is a burst deck. Vargas can be pretty aggressive, kind of lose out, and Doji does lose to Fennel. I need to make that very clear. Going first or second, Fennel is extremely destructive. She draws so much. that she does not care what Doji is doing. And then also the bomb decking really hurts if they choose to, you know, up the bomb decking, all that kind of fun stuff. I think Fennel beats Doji. Then it's basically like, yes, it's 3 attacks, but they're ginormous. And Doji can't block all that turn after turn. I know you can set up for the PG, and that's basically your only saving grace. And you have to hope you set up in time before Fennel murders you. If Fennel takes first, you're just dead. So yeah, there's that. So here's the premium breakdown. I'm not going to talk about this as much because I know a lot less, but I will tell you, as per usual, Neo Nectar is probably the best deck in the format, aside from maybe Grand Blue. As long as you just don't see bugs, you're usually fine, which we did see quite a bit of bugs. I heard the premium players were talking. There were some Neo Nectar players that are like, oh my god, I hope I don't bump into bugs because I'm screwed type of thing. So I think all these decks are very powerful here. I think Kagura is the only weird one in the list that I'm currently seeing here. Everything else makes sense. Person that took Royal Paladin was playing Alden, and that's actually one of my friends. I've talked about him so many times on my channel, and I'll talk about him again. He is the Flagberg guy, the guy that showed me Flagberg during Gravidia Meta, the guy that basically said, hey, you should play this. He's the guy that like opened my eyes to Flagberg back like 2 years ago, whenever we had our first 2022, like whenever Flagberg first started showing. This is the guy. I'm not even surprised that he came up with some Alden Jewel Knights stuff. It's just what he does. He's really good at crafting decks, and I'm not even surprised that when I saw him up there, I was like, he told me around round 3 or 4 that he's playing Alden. Obviously I was playing Shadowverse, so like I was doing my own thing. And I was like, you're playing what? I was like, what is happening? He was like, I think he went X1 in Swiss, like no joke. So like he was doing really well. So shout outs to him for taking some, I don't even know what he took, but whatever he took, I hope it worked. It's hilarious to me that there's an Alden Jewel Knights deck out there now. I love to see it. We haven't seen Spice and Premium in a long time. And for all I know, maybe it was a deck that's existed this entire time and I'm just clueless, but I love to see it. But anyway, other than that, everything else is pretty standard for the most part. Basically what happened there. Look, this is my friend made it to top 16. Let's go, friend. He made it through. I don't know how far he got, but he got to top 16. What were bugs? Kind of taking up the chart with Neo Nectar and then everything else. Basically, I think Kagura fell off for obvious reasons. No offense to Kagura player, but I just don't think Kagura's that great, especially since Ladder is a card. I think Ladder just shuts off a lot of what Kagura likes to do. You can still, you know, break through and still cheese wins. The Vanguards and the Strides are just so insane in Kagura, but at the same time, I don't know, Ladder just shuts off a lot of deck does. Top 8. So this top 8, again, still more bugs. Neo Nectar really dropped here, actually, so I'm kind of wondering how it all ends. But DP, some Shiranuis, still Link Joker, still Jet, and we still have the Gizeh Angels coming through, which I believe is another one of my friends. She's been on, I believe it's her. I'm pretty sure it is because it's on the top 8 thing, but she's been on Angel Gizeh for a very long time. So she's actually a really good player. I really vouch for her. I think she's really good. I actually saw her day 1 and she fucking destroyed me with Sharp Out. Definitely a person to fear if you ever see her in bracket. She's scary. She's scary. She might not be like the most represented player in the community, but she's still really good at the game. So Levy won with Katrina. I still think Katrina's just insane. I don't know. There's something about the deck. Maybe it's because I play Bermuda. Bermuda really dies to this deck. It's just, you just can't out it. And that's the problem. The deck is too defensive, and it's just, once it stabilizes, it's just kind of game over for you. And they just decked in so much, it just really sucks. But second place was DP, which is a little more surprising, but I actually do think DP is pretty impactful. It's really hard to out the board that they kind of put you under with tasers and the guard restricts and just everything they do. They kind of put you under like a very tough situation that where you can just randomly die. Better. The third place was David Smart with his really funny deck profile. He did a really in-depth deck profile. It's really good. And then the fourth place we have Link Joker. So there's that. So that's basically those results. Let's see if we have more. We still have more. We're not even done. That's the crazy part. We have Nagoya. So Raziel was the big chunk of the chart for this one. Love Address, Varga, Love, Odium, and then some others down below. Leonard still showing results. I think Leonard's at 5, so a little bit weaker. And then this is basically what the block 8 looked like. Well, so many Raziels. Oh my god. They probably like had some fake thing going on where we could pretend ride line with the Love Address. And then here we have Varga, Raziel, Odium, and then Norn, Night Rose, Shodoji still showing up. And then Raziel, Luard, and Odium for that. And then this is block B. There's a good bit of Raziel as well. Maybe there's some Raziel cooking going on. And with Love Address, more Odium on this side, Love, Blackfire, Varga, Night Rose, Mishu, and so on and so forth. Little Kyrie kind of pop up peeking in there. And this is what the final results were, which was Odium, Love Address, and Raziel. This looks like a disgusting team to fight. That's all I'm going to say. This looks disgusting. We have Varga, Love, and Blackfire, Raziel, Prison, and Love Address. This also looks annoying as heck to fight. And then we have also Messiah, Kyrie, and Love with that. So here's Taiwan. We have 2 Raziel, 2 Blackfire, 1 Love, 1 Varga, Love Address, and 1 Prison. And this is what won. Love won Quagmire took second, third place was Overdress, and fourth place was Prison. And then here is what the top 4 results for that looked like. So this is basically the list here. I really love that they're starting to do this more often. This is very, very helpful. This should have always been a thing. I'm very, very happy. Now over the Vanguard results, I just want to go over specifically the standard. I wanted to just at least show you guys what the most of the, you know, what most of it was. So we actually had a lot of Dragon Empire for standard. This is for Duluth. Just want to quickly run this down because this is the most recent one. And then we had a lot of Stork, which is Leonard probably, and a lot of El Padillo, basically. We had some Lyrical Monastery, some Keter, and some Blackmire. So this is basically what the deck lists are. Just kind of want to quickly go over that. We just went over this. This is the first place list. Running pretty standard. The new grade 3 is actually pretty disgusting. I think that card's really annoying. It's really hard to fight through. It just adds more. The fact that they get to search for their pieces makes the deck better. It also deck bids a lot so they can check triggers. Well, not a lot. They deck bid more now than they did before. And then this is what the Leonard list looked like. They're running the broccoli. I actually haven't seen this one yet, but they did put broccoli in. I've been 50-50 with broccoli. I kept throwing broccoli in and taking broccoli out, throwing broccoli in. I'm very anti-watermelon though. There's the watermelon order right here. I just found that it never really came up. It was just Counterblast to draw a card basically, because if the opponent's smart, they'll just play around it. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's cool. So I opted to run like Mythiarch or whatever. But I think this list is actually really good. It's very solid. It's a little bit more like, it has a little bit more 3s and 4s. I saw a first place list that was running all 4s and they just took broccoli out completely. Either way, it works. Whatever works for you. I also am a big supporter of 3 draws over 4 draws. I just think that's very way more optimal. We had Fennel here. So this is Fennel running with the Energy Cycler. This is very correct. They're also running the Chalice. We don't have to worry about ladder as much, so I definitely respect the Chalice. Keep in mind, Chalice does proc with the 3 order condition. You can draw a card, you still get Persona, you still get everything. It's very, very powerful. You'll notice there's one less Persona. You really don't need it. And actually, if you draw into it, sometimes it's really useless in your hand. And you'd rather see Chalice to help as your 4th Persona copy instead. So this makes sense. Running the 16 orders, that also makes sense. Also, the Energy Girl, since we have access to energy, you might as well use it. It just helps you dig deeper through your deck. You can also bounce cards with her. Personally, I used to run a grade 2. It was a Persona grade 2. It's a Counterblast. You can bounce 2 cards back to hand. Keep in mind, the Energy card can also bounce cards back to hand. So if you revive something like a Perfect or something, get it back to your hand as well. So this is very useful for those turns where you have to kind of grind it out a little bit before you can finish off your opponent. And then this is Doji. It looks like a pretty standard build. Looks like they didn't go they didn't do any weird cheeky stuff. They just kept it very standard, very to the point. And I support that. The Kakachika is basically where the usually people change things up. And the Twin Cast, they opted to run fronts over draws, and then after that, like I said, some people run the Cycle or the slot, some people run the Kakachika. Either way works. Then also the premium breakdown. So this is what the Neo Nectar was. I'm not gonna go through all this because I'm not smart. I haven't been testing the format to know enough what's going on. Just giving you guys the details. There it is. There's Neo Nectar. There's Katrina. And look, it's DP. A DP with the new grade 3. It's for the fact that it stays in the board. People can't clear it as easily. But this deck got like really control. Like there's a lot of random control in this deck that now you have access to, which is kind of really funny. I love it. Love to see it. Third place we have Sharanui. I have no idea what Sharanui is doing, but congrats, David. Really good stuff. And then 4th place we had the Link Joker, which I'm actually surprised that Link Joker broke through. I would expect this to, I don't know. Is this deleters? Is this even? It's not deleters, so it's not the super win cut. Well, it's a little bit deleter stuff. It's not like super deleters. Like it's not like the full deleter combo that people tend to run. But that's basically it. I'm gonna close it out there because this is so much to talk about. But we actually have one more thing we have to do. So we all need to look at this deck profile because it is peak content, and everyone needs to respect this deck profile. So
here's my deck profile. It's Shiranui with the crest. Total loss record was 10-2. I lost to Katrina once in Swiss and once in Top Cut. I got 3rd place. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So if you guys can't tell, there's very good ratios in here. Very impactful stuff. It's just to the T. Just you can see everything. Press, just all the important stuff. Strides, G zone. It really that what he showed right here is a deck with cards in it. It's a card. It's cards. There's sleeves on it, and a fan. And a fan is involved. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of results. Sorry, went through it a little bit faster than usual. We had a lot to go through, so I don't want to make this like a 40-minute video. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys have really been pushing more support recently. I love to see it. I hope we can get to 5K together until before the end of the year ends. Other than that, guys, if you guys not shop, OuterOrange if you need any goodies. We are in BCS season right now, so if you need anything, feel free to use my code OuterOrange to save yourself some money as you're like shopping for stuff, including supplies, whatever you need. Doesn't have to be this card game, could be other card games as well. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm that, guys. Peace out. Das vidania. See you guys in a future video. Bye.